On the night of July 3rd, 1969, the largest rocket ever built rose from a secret base in the Soviet desert. It was the USSR's last chance to beat America to the moon. It climbed barely 200 meters. Then it fell back to Earth and detonated with the force of a small nuclear bomb. For years, the Soviet Union insisted it was not racing for the moon. It was a lie. Hidden on the steppes of Kazakhstan, engineers had built a colossus called the N1, taller than the American Saturn V, powered by 30 engines burning together, the most powerful rocket of its age. Just before midnight, the giant came alive. 30 engines ignited at once, lighting the darkness like a second sunrise, and the enormous rocket lifted slowly off the pad. For a few seconds, the Soviet dream of the moon was airborne. Then, deep inside the engines, something went wrong. A fragment of metal tore through a fuel pump. The control system, sensing disaster, shut the engines down one by one, until almost all of them had died. The rocket hung in the air, stalled, and tipped over. Then gravity took it. The largest rocket on Earth fell straight back onto its own launch pad. The blast was enormous. 2,000 tons of fuel and oxygen erupted in an instant, an explosion of nearly 7 kilotons, one of the largest non-nuclear detonations humans have ever caused. The fireball lit the steppe for miles. The launch complex was simply gone, flattened into a smoking crater. And then, the Soviet Union did something remarkable. It pretended none of it had happened. There was no announcement, no admission, no moon program at all. The wreckage was cleared, the pad rebuilt, and the entire effort buried beneath official silence for the next 20 years. But a disaster that large cannot truly be hidden. High above, American spy satellites swept over Kazakhstan and photographed the ruins, a shattered launch site where a giant rocket had stood. The West now knew the secret the Kremlin would never admit. The Soviets had raced for the moon and lost. 13 days later, Apollo 11 left Florida, and the world watched two Americans walk on the moon. The Soviet rocket that might have gotten there first lay in pieces, its failure erased from history. It remains one of the largest explosions ever made by human hands, and for 20 years, its loudest secret was silence.